All right. So I am currently recording Mickey. We are rolling.
Nice.
All right, so I am here with Mickey Papa talking about Flatground and then the competitive Flatground skateboarding competition that he has since won 3 times in a row. Mickey, thanks for your time. Before we dive into the contest, I was curious to know about your journey with Flatground. So Flatground skateboarding, was that the first type of skating that you kind of tackled when you got into skateboarding, or did it happen later? What's the story with Flat for Mickey Papa?
The relationship between me and the good old flat ground of Mother Earth. Let me see, dude, I gotta think back, way back in the day. But honestly, yeah, I mean, flat ground, just fundamentals. I started skating because I was the younger brother, and my older brother, was skating, and I would just, watch him skate. This is so long ago. This is before I skated, so this is 25 years ago.
Right.
I've been skating around 24 years or something like that, since 2002, I believe. Yeah, we're about to go to 2026, so 24 years. So this is before then. I was sitting in the carport, and I'd watch my brother just go back and forth, and it was he was always good at switch and nollie, so I just watched him do kick flips and then switch flips and nollie flips and then and then do backside flips and switch backside flips. And keep in mind too, he was in 5th grade at this time. Yeah, he was really good. He was really good at backside flip variations. So I remember in 5th grade, he could slide kickflip backtails and switch flip backtails pretty evenly. I don't know if he was landing both of them, but I remember seeing him slide switch flip backtails when he was in 5th grade. So he was 10 years old. Crazy.
That is crazy.
So I got this great example of I feel like my brother has just so much talent, probably more than I do, man. I just watch him, and I think through that, I just watched him do these fundamentals on flat ground so much that it became normalizing of what these tricks were, that I guess it became just that power of belief of if my brother can do it, then I can do it. And then I would just kind of eventually he stopped skating, and I put together one of his old setups, and it was some mismatched trucks and a very small Chad Muska board, a 7.5 Chad Muska board with 139, 149 indies. Let me close the window. I think the garbage truck's outside. That should be better. So then, yeah, I would just try to do those tricks that I'd see him do. And I didn't go to the skate park. I just skated flat ground because that was what was available to me. And I remember being able to kick flip, heel flip, switch flip. I think maybe switch heel. I think the switch flip was first for me, but I couldn't ride down a hill.
Switch flip was the first switch trick you learned?
Yeah, it was kick flip and then switch flip.
Okay.
Kick flip, heel flip, and then switch flip, I think, was the first one, more so than switch heel.
Yeah.
Weirdly, even frontside flip, backside flip, I was those don't work good. Switch flip works good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I could do those fundamentals before I could even ride down a hill. I remember going to the skate park for the first time and could do those tricks, but being I don't know about riding down this hill. That was crazy to me.
Yeah. I mean, that's relatable to me, honestly, because I skated basketball courts growing up, and I imagine if you weren't from California or somewhere with a lot of skate parks, your story might be more relatable to a lot of people who learned flat first.
It's crazy to think about that, but I think from what I see nowadays, and maybe it's because I'm out here in California and just in the scene and stuff, but I feel people go to the skate park and then begin to learn skateboarding. But in my perception, our generation, people, that have been around the skate scene for a while, learned how to skate and then went to skate parks.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I feel we kind of learned a lot of the fundamentals before we even tried to tackle obstacles, where it's people kind of do that one and the same. They're oh, I got a board, I'm going to the park. And I was just whoa, park is not entry level. That's once you get to a certain point, then you can go to the park and see if you can skate obstacles.
And you grew up in Canada, right?
Yeah, Vancouver, Canada.
Okay.
And then another big part of the whole, if we're going back into the history books here, is that Vancouver rains for about 7 to 8 months out of the year, and we have no indoor skate park. We've had people try to make them, and the longest they've lasted is 2 or 3 years because it's really expensive over there, and not a lot of people skate, so it's really hard to sustain an indoor park. But that being said, I pretty much, if I was going to skate at all during those times, was just going to be Flatground. So I was a local at every parking garage in like a couple mile radius. I skated underneath the police station all the time that was connected to City Hall, so much to the point that the mayor knew me by name and would always tell the security guards if she was around, like, don't kick him out, like, he's fine, just let him skate. But she wasn't always around. But literally I was just like, try to get, like, you know, my hour of skating in, you know, and just have my board in a garbage bag and like walk over there and like get soaked and then like try to dry off my shoes and go 2 layers underground. I just skate Flatground by myself. So Flatground is just like the fundamentals, you know what I mean? It's just like, you gotta respect the fundamentals, dude. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, it's the fundamentals. And from what you described, it sounds like not only did you have kind of a good introduction to it by watching your older brother, but you also had like some community support to kind of push you to progress.
Yeah, I mean, yes, definitely yes, and also no at the same time, but it sucked because not everyone had that same kind of diehard passion. You know, if we really even, like, look at the numbers, like, there's as much people, like, it's a tiny bit more, but the population in Canada as an entire country, which is bigger than the United States, is basically matched by the population in California. So think about how much less people that is spread out over a landmass that's even larger than the United States.
True.
And now we're going to think about skateboarders where it's, you know, maybe sunny for, I mean, I'm going to generalize. I'm going to say half the time just in Canada as general. So it's just like we have way less skaters. And out of those skaters, which ones are going to be motivated to try to find a session and get on a bus or like get soaked in the rain and try to go find an undercover session? So I was just pretty much skating Flatground by myself most of the time.
True.
But so consistently that security guards would see me all the time. Like, they probably thought I was like a troubled child. Like this kid okay? Like, he just hangs around this parking garage all the time, you know?
Yeah, understandable concern. But to your point, you know, you were kind of like on a solo mission to get really good at skateboarding, it sounds like. Did you have a certain approach? Like when you describe these parking lot sessions or parking garage sessions, was there a routine you did, like X amount of each flip trick, or just learning the ones that you didn't know yet? Like what was, do you remember what your mindset was back then?
It wasn't as, I feel like if I would have added that amount of structure to it, I probably would have hated it. Because then it becomes like monotonous and just like you're doing this routine and, you know, it's like a choreographed thing. Whereas just like, I was in exploration mode, you know, I just wanted to skate. I was, you know, this form of expression that I was just like, I felt like, you know, I was progressing at. And even though I didn't have a lot of other skaters around to like kind of even like measure up against, I just was like knew I was getting better. But it was more about the feeling of every trick. So, and I've noticed this because I've tried before. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do this many in a row, and like as soon as you put a number and a value to things, you change the experience. Where it's like me trying to do tricks like, and it's crazy because, you know, you can look at my skating and you might not think this, but like frontside flip was one of the absolute hardest tricks in the world for me to get good. And because of that challenge, that really does something to my brain where I just have that kind of like stupid bang my head against a wall thing. I like the challenge more than I like things that come easy sometimes. And I would just sit there and try to do a frontside flip that I liked. And if I were to put a number valuation to it, the goal would have been that. And maybe that was 10 in a row, but just trying to do one that I like probably resulted into like 100 in a row without me noticing I did 100 in a row, you know?
Wow, okay. Not very relatable, but...
Is it? No, I really thought that was relatable.
So you were going for quality, kind of.
But you know, okay, like, what's a trick that for you is like your bread and butter trick?
Probably a regular heel flip.
Okay, so when you're going to do a regular heel flip, like say you get to the park, you get warmed up, and you do a regular heel flip, and it's like you land one, but it wasn't the one that you're like, ooh, that's how I do my heel flip.
Yeah, but I wouldn't do 100.
Well, how do you know you wouldn't do 100 when it's like, if you were just like, just off of the one that you were like, oh, that wasn't quite the one, because you wouldn't be counting.
Yeah, I think... Like I'm in a state where I'm still trying to learn I'm still trying to increase the quantity of tricks So like if my heel flip is like less than perfect, like as long as I landed one, I'm ready to go and battle switch heels, you know, because I still want to get those. So yeah, I mean, and I'm like you mentioned frontside flip. I mean, at that point, like how many other if that was the only one, you know, you didn't really have, you know, you probably had like dozens of other tricks kind of locked in, or am I assuming incorrectly?
No, you definitely got some. I see where you're coming from with that. No, it's just like, how do I even explain this? It's like certain tricks that are a certain level of difficulty that I have like an innate problem. My body just doesn't work that way. Like I'll notice patterns, and there's usually like groups of tricks where it's like regular frontside 180 trick might be a group of tricks, but if it's on the kickflip side, it's like in its own category. If it's on the heel flip side, it's in a different category. Yeah, because those pressure points become either like same side or opposite side pressure. Yeah, without like an illustration, that might be hard to understand. But like you're pressing into your heel, and then you're into like the ball of your foot, which would be kind of like an opposite pressure, like a varial heel flip, which is kind of a natural trick for me, you know? Versus same side pressure would be kick flip, and then that same kind of front shove position on your back foot. Those tricks are problematic for me, and those tricks would be like front side flip and hard flip, and even this is a bit of a weird one. It's not a flat ground trick, but a kick flip crook is a very similar pressure. So those three were probably the most unnatural tricks that I've really took so much time to try to learn. And maybe I've tried them more than any other trick, and I am definitely not that great at them, versus tricks that have come more natural, but maybe I've put less work into them. So I might land the frontside flip more than the other ones, but like they're just not as natural for me. So for me, when I say that, I'm like, I remember I had to work so much harder than all of the people that I knew, like just kind of had a frontside flip, or how a varial heel flip came to me. Frontside flips did not come to me, and hard flips did not come to me. And to this day, I think Art recognized the fact that I wasn't that good at hard flips, or I said it. I mean, I'm usually quick to say it at times.
Yeah, I didn't want to mention it, but I think the cat's out of the bag, because I think you yourself made some gestures that signified like, oh, here we go with the hard flip. Here we go with the hard flip back 180.
And it's funny. Yeah, it's funny because like I don't fault anybody for it. I'm like, you know, come at me, bro, because like I worked on those tricks because I just, like I said, I like the challenge of it, like not being as easy as some of the other tricks for me. So I've put probably more hours into that trick than I put into tricks that I'm good at. So I'm like, ooh, he's going to do the hard flip. All right, let's see if I got it this time. You know, it's an exciting thing for me.
Your frontside big spins were actually really precise and flawless, I mean, basically. So is it when the board flips that causes you problems doing regular frontside?
That's a perfect example. Like, think about the pressure points in that situation. Like, where you would put your front foot and your back foot. Like, for you, like, if you were to try that trick, like, how would you put your front foot on the board? Like, describe it to me.
A front big spin?
Yeah.
Probably like a front shove.
Like a front shove for the back foot? Like you're in a pushing motion? Yeah. What about your front foot, though?
Well, I mean, full disclosure, I've never done one, so...
Okay. So if you look at the foot position for that, it's almost identical to varial heel flip.
Oh, okay.
So it's the same kind of opposite pressure where the front foot is like hanging off the opposite side of the board and the back foot is like in that little pocket. It's like this. So it's that same, like I'm very balanced in that weight distribution and can feel like I get a good pop off of that, versus now I put that front foot back onto the kickflip side. I'm all of a sudden like in a position that's compromised where I don't really get as good of a pop and flick, and therefore my hard flip just doesn't go. So I don't know, something about like that opposite pressure for me works good.
Did you have to teach yourself all this stuff, or did your brother give you pointers? Did someone mentor you in your process of learning tricks, or was it mostly self-taught?
I mean, like I said, I was just in parking garages just learning this shit by myself, and like watching P-Rod, over and over and over, and in Bloom over and over and over again. And that's pretty much it, because I had those videos.
Okay. Do you flip your board every time you skate?
Oh, yeah. I'm like, oh, shit, that's an interesting question. Unless I'm specifically trying not to.
Yeah, like you have an injury or something?
Not even. Like, I just, like, would have to be, like, just challenging myself to not do that.
Do you skate every day?
Does that sound weird? Right now, like it's so funny because we had this talk before, but, like, for some reason, every one of these contests, I've been, like, on the verge of, like, coming back from an injury, or, like, I haven't skated and stuff. Yeah. So over this last year, and like, you know, since the last season before this was when we skated on the awning.
Late April?
Yeah, not the awning. Yeah. Late April. Yeah. Around that time, I started to develop this annoying injury. It's just a quad tendonitis, and it was on and off. Where it's like I'd take a week off, and then I'd skate for a week, and then I'd get activated again. Then take 2 weeks off, and I'd skate for a couple weeks, and I'd get activated again. So I was really like, I spent like 2 or 3 months trying to get back to skating where I couldn't skate, and then I finally ended up taking like 3 or 4 weeks off, and then I was good for like 6-7 months, and then right as this kicked off again, that nagging injury just came back. So I got like a week window in between that where I got to skate this last season, and I've been off the board since, and I'm like on a month like rehab program right now.
Okay.
So hopefully I can get back to my old ways, but my old ways was skating every day.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I've been hindered over this last year, which feels like it's been so long since skating every day from all these little like week on, week off things, and months of not really feeling 100%.
Do you know why this is happening? Is it because we all get older and like that's part of it, but like, is there something maybe in your skating or external factor that's giving you these minor setbacks?
I mean, just to break down, like, we all get older, what that really means. I think this is a really valuable piece of information to anybody who's like younger and watching and listening. Is like default, like getting older does not mean any kind of like you become more fragile or, your body hurts by default. Like, although it may seem like that, what I've really realized, because, I'm 35 and I feel like I've been skating the best I've ever skated for most of my life. And like, I haven't really felt any kind of decrease. Maybe I'm delusional. I don't know. But I noticed when I started to have a little bit of trouble or just less desire to jump down something, it's never because like, oh, you've gotten older. It's you probably have tightness in your body. So if you can get like on good programs to like maintain flexibility and mobility and all those kinds of things, all of that comes back right away. And you're like, oh, I wasn't getting older. I was getting stiff and I was getting tighter. And then to build on to what I was just saying there is with that, you also get, as time goes on, you get more little injuries that compound into bigger things where you might not notice them, but your body starts to compensate over time and use different muscle groups than it should. So now you just kind of extrapolate that, go forward, and you add 10 years onto a certain injury that wasn't really a thing. And it's like now your body's kind of misaligned and it's using things that it shouldn't be using. And that's kind of where the point that I'm at right now is we've kind of traced it back to this very weird bail that I took where I got cut off and I tried to swerve out of the way of this. It was actually at the barracks, out of the way of the handrail, and I took the handrail to the hip super hard and like flipped over the rail and like pretty much like went down the stairs. Shit. And it's just not like a bail you would normally encounter because I just pretty much ran straight on into a rail. Okay. And it shifted my hips, which was like, ow, bruise, all good, but no sprain like that would take me off the board. And from that compromised position, I started to develop patterns that were not conducive to like, longevity. So it overused certain things. So now we're realigning those things. And according to the, the physios and stuff that I'm working with, it's not super hard to realign those things. This is getting the right directed patterns and movements that realign it. And then everything is fine after that. Yeah. So just as a word of good hope and excitement for like the future for people that are like maybe worried like, oh, I don't want my body to hurt. Take good care of yourself, stretch, mobility, strengthening, exercise, and just pattern work. If you ever work with a physio, like prehab stuff, having a little like routine to make sure your body is just able to deal with the load that we put it on. This ensures that you're going to feel miles apart of what you think you're going to feel like in your 30s.
Prehab. I think that's the first I've heard that one.
Yeah, every day for the last like couple years, like I do like I have like a little routine in the morning of like certain stretches and like just to activate certain muscles to make sure they're firing. So as one physio and one doctor put it to me, is like, if you're moving and you got to move your bed from a 3rd-story apartment and you got to take it down the stairs and up another 3 flights of stairs, you want 2 guys to lift it or do you want 3 guys to lift it? And you're like, obviously I want 3 guys to lift it. It's easier. He's like, that's your calves, your quads, and your glutes. But nobody's ever using their glutes. So to make sure those are firing in the morning puts a third less load on every other joint and muscle in your body. So make sure those are firing. So that's a good prehab thing to know.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, great. Getting more information than I expected on this call.
I was just like, I can dive into details. So I asked you, I was like, how long do we want to go? I could waste people's time all day here.
You mentioned front side flips as like a trick that you repetitively would go through until you got a quality one that you were happy with. Is this an example of a trick that was hard for you to learn that is surprisingly easier for you now, or is there one that pops to mind more prominently than a frontside flip?
Frontside flips is a good one, just because it's definitely a trick that I will go to set that I feel very comfortable of landing on Flatground nowadays. And it's just like sometimes you just value it more because it took you longer to get there. Whereas just a lot of my friends could frontside flip super easy, and I just couldn't do it. But yeah, I feel like it's probably the best example of something that's just like definitely a go-to trick for me to like do in a game of skate nowadays.
Do you remember which of the straight eight was the last one that you learned?
If I'm going to take a guess, because this is just a guess, I think it was nollie heel flip, which is probably one of my strengths out of all of those.
How old were you when you learned nollie heel?
I started at about 11, so pretty sure I was still 11.
You learned nollie heel within a year of skating.
Yeah, those, like I'm saying, like those tricks were kind of like came fast to me. Like those straight eights were all kind of like some of the first tricks I learned like before going down hills or like 50-50 grinds or anything. I would just skate flat ground, so it'd be like kick flip, switch flip, nollie flip. Switch heel was a little bit harder. I think nollie heel was a little bit, I think I was worried about getting sacked, if I remember right. I felt like I was going to like pop it into my butt, and I was like all worried.
For nollie heel?
Yeah, because I was like, I don't know, I just thought that would happen if I didn't hit it right.
Yeah, damn. Yeah, I think your story is probably pretty rare, I would say, as far as like the speed of progression. Like you probably don't really hear people like, yeah, within a year I had the straight eight.
I don't know. Yeah, this is crazy when I think about it. Like to me, it just like, I don't know. I wasn't thinking about progressing, which I think led to all the progressing, you know?
Yeah.
I was just thinking about doing the getting the feeling right. Mm-hmm. And like that led to way more than like setting a certain number of, I want to do this many in a row. But like even like when I think about it, I think my first, I won't say real video part, because I had like a bunch of like promo tapes and stuff before this, and like parts and like little like friends videos and stuff. But my first like very mainstream part was, I believe, in 2006. So that's in like 4 years, and that's like where I was like sponsored by like DC and like Plan B, and had just come out, and like, so, like, I guess that is pretty fast. However, I will say, you know, a lot of that is not, like, I'm not going to say, like, I was any kind of more talented than anybody else. Like, I had certain athletic ability, sure, but my community was insane. Like, what my level of normal was top tier, because, you know, if I were to go downtown and skate the Vancouver Plaza, which was one of the first plazas ever built, like, we had skate parks in Vancouver, actually, that were, like, way before California skate parks was doing anything. And that plaza was amazing. And you could go there and you would see Wade DeZarmo and Rick McCrank and Spencer Hamilton. This guy, Paul Trepp, if you don't know, he's probably the best skateboarder of all time. Paul Macnow, Galia Mamalu, Chris Haslam, Ryan DeCenzo, Scott DeCenzo, Magnus Hansen, like all of these people, like if you look up any one of those names, probably one of the best skateboarders in the world at that time, and a lot of those names to this day will still ring true. So my level of normal, what I thought was good, was probably just way higher than what normal people were surrounded by, and I think I can attribute that probably to most of the progression, because it wasn't like I was kind of like leading any way. I was just like, oh, everybody's so good, I just want to try to do some of those tricks. Those look cool. And by being surrounded in that environment, it just led to progressing really fast. And then obviously I was really emotionally, like passionately, like I loved doing it. It's all I wanted to do, you know? Mm-hmm. So combination.
Yeah. All right. So at the time of us talking, as we all know, you won the whole thing. You officially three-peated 3 seasons in a row. How does that feel?
It's cool. I'm stoked. Thank you. It's crazy. I mean, like, man, the competition was really, really tough this time. Like, I knew when I saw Art's name, I was like, oh man, he's the sleeper. Y'all don't know. Like, he's so good. And specifically, like, amazing flip tricks, amazing style, such good pop, super consistent. So it's just like, he was such a sleeper agent compared to like some of the other names, which everybody knows, like Seva and Tom, and like, you know, those guys are just nuts. So, and dude, honestly, you had some really cool new talent that I hadn't heard of, like Marley Humphrey, man, that guy was awesome. Like, he was super good. And, you know, Diego Todd was killing it too. Like, all these guys, I was just like really stoked. Like, awesome skaters, great to watch, great style, great, you know, people to hang around too. Just obviously everyone knows Nikolai too is so freaking good. So, you know, I think maybe that just, he wasn't, like, didn't get a good sleep that day or something, but Nikolai kills it all the time. So
Yeah.
I'm sure if he's coming back the next time, he'll do his thing and shit.
Yeah, I think for people who it's their first contest, like you got cameras going, it's organized, it's planned. Like if you're not used to that, it's probably a little bit of a shock. Whereas like you've been in the barracks, several others in the contest have been Seva, Tom, and have been in the barracks. So I think you're mentioning like Nikolai. I think, yeah, like if that's your first time, it's probably a lot of overstimulation with what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. He always kills it. Always great to watch, amazing skating, and just such a dope dude. He's always got funny sayings and shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, what did you say there? But yeah, you gotta say it to the kids so they understand though too. It's just like, man, you watch these games of skate and you watch barracks and all that stuff, and you're like, oh man, you missed that. I wouldn't have missed that. But I'm like, dude, like you're in the moment, like your legs are all shaky and stuff, and you're like, do I got front 180 right now? You start thinking like do I even got that? And you would never think about it, and then in the moment it's much different than just chilling skating with the homies. So changes things.
Agreed. I wasn't even in the games competing, but I can imagine something as simple as doing a kickflip. That was the joke, I think, at the barracks. It became a lot of people were missing kickflips, I think, in season 12 with the new names, and it became like a meme. Who's going to land a kickflip? Because it seems like no one can do it.
Right, exactly. I've talked to a lot of people about that. It's almost like the kickflip curse of getting those first jitters out the way.
When you think back, you debuted in CFS the second season and have been back ever since. When you think back to your first season, what do you think has changed the most about the way you approach each season?
I mean, I generally have the same approach. I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
Right. I mean, if you're going to win, you might not want to change anything.
I don't know. The thing is, if I start thinking about it too much, it'd probably become problematic and start making more errors than I already make. I think I said it a lot of in the interview that we did in the last one. It's just your biggest competitor is the one that lives in your head. You know what you can do and you know what you can't do. And it's just at the end of the day, it's just, you got to just be the best version of yourself. So I just always try to think about what's the best version of myself and how to show up. So that's pretty much my strategy, I guess.
Is there any season that sticks out that you felt like you were mentally tested more so than another?
The last 2 seasons, for sure. As I mentioned to you, not this last one. The one before that, I could, my back was literally just aching, just standing for so long. I was in a lot of physical pain. It's crazy because you probably can't see it. I always end up having certain talks or interviews and people are like, what? Really? You felt like that or you thought like that? Because a lot of the time when I'm feeling those things and experiencing those things, I try to physically do the opposite of that to just make myself almost give me a little bit more confidence or try to get that edge off. I think I'm probably the most nerve-wracked contest skater in the world. I am absolutely fighting off the feeling of my legs being numb, shaking inside, my teeth chattering, and to combat that, I will literally just stand tall, laugh, smile, get into my music, and if I'm in pain, I'll pretend that I'm the strongest I've ever felt. So you might not be able to see those things, but that day I remember my back was just on fire, it was aching so much in the second season. And then thinking back about that, and then as we talked about for this last season, I'd probably been on my board again for a week, and I just felt like my board was old and the shoes were old. It's kind of in between.
Your shoes were falling apart.
Yeah, I had to super glue them together because I was I didn't have shoes at the time. I was in between waiting for other shoes. So I just tried to put all that stuff out of my head and just thought about, well, the last one I felt way worse and I got through that one. So this is nothing. So I always just try to tell myself the opposite of what I'm feeling if it's bad.
Was there...
I don't know if that was your question.
No.
That was my answer.
Yeah. I'm always interested to hear about the mental side. I really appreciate and admire people who can mentally lock in. I think that's what kind of separates the talent when it comes down to people who can take the titles in these kinds of organized contests.
Right, and I think a lot of it too is just reframing. If you have struggles in a lot of things, you can just reframe it. It really helps because for me innately that's probably my weakest part of let's say skateboarding as a career. The competition side is I literally swore off contests because I would just do so well in practice and not land a trick in any practice for years, and I was just over it. I think it stopped for 6-7 years. I was nope, I hate contests, I'm not doing it. Until I just kind of learned to reframe, though. Instead of being like, I hope I do the things that I can do, it's more so like you just kind of step into challenge mode, because I know that I like challenge. Like I was saying before, like I like the frontside flip because it challenges me. What if I could land all of my tricks that I have today in the right order, instead of what if I don't? Like, what if I do? You know?
You were runner-up season 9, Barracks against Diego. Very different environment, Barracks versus kind of the way we're doing this dumb data contest. Do you think like a huge crowd at finals night that's screaming and giving the event a lot of energy, is that something that you prefer over the relatively exclusive, almost casual CFS style? Do you prefer one environment over the other?
I couldn't just give you a black and white statement for that. Like sometimes I'd want the CFS like a little bit more casual style. Sometimes the crowd can help depending on the mood. Like I think some people are more black and white. Like I feel like an example that just kind of comes to mind is TJ likes some of that external hype from noticing it from skating with him. And I'm like, it pumps him up and he kills it. And it just, that excitement kind of drives him. Whereas maybe the calm might be harder for him. I've always kind of like been so removed from the external world that like when I do my best, I'm kind of like very internal. It kind of becomes background noise, but sometimes it can hype me up. Sometimes it can take away. Yeah, each one can play a role. It just really depends on like what you're in the mood for, what you're prepared for,
Mm-hmm. When people look back on the history of this CFS, what do you hope they say about Micky Papa's run?
I don't know. It's a good question. I never really thought about it. I'm just like, what do I hope they say? I don't know. I don't really care.
Yeah, maybe that question's stupid. That's not really.
Like, no. I mean, like, it's not a stupid question. I'm just like, I don't really hope that they say this or that. I'm just like, I hope they had a good time watching it and they felt entertained and they were stoked.
Yeah. What do you think about the reception online? What do you think of kind of how people are reacting to the games?
I mean, it's interesting. It's like, it's very easy to hide behind a keyboard and say certain things, like whether you're in favor or you're not in favor. Because I've read a lot of the comments, and even just like my comment earlier about Nikolai, is just like, he's kind of catching a little heat and stuff. I'm like, Nikolai is awesome. I love skating Nikolai. He's amazing to skate with. And, like, you get this tiny little view into someone for, like, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes playing a game of skate. It's, like, make a judgment on that. It's very easy for people to, like, think this or that. But until you're there, until you're in the moment, it's such a different experience, like, versus skating and how you normally skate. So I'm just, like, at the end of the day, I just hope people are entertained and they don't take anything too much to heart about, like, the whole, I don't know, contest or, like, things they hear people say or whatever. I don't know. It's just like we're all having fun and everyone's stoked to be there. So
yeah, I mean, to your point, just to like give it more context, if you look at a video that gets 15,000 views and there's 200 comments, that's like less than 2% of the people watching it are even saying anything. And half of those comments or more are positive. So if you amplify the negative, it can be misleading.
There's those analytics that we all know and love from Mr. Dumb Data himself.
But it's true. I mean, I think most people watch it, and like, at least for me, like some of the homies that I run into and talk with about it behind the scenes, they're just like stoked to watch games of skate. They're not tripping too much on details like you were saying earlier.
Yeah, because it's really interesting. I don't know, everyone thinks so differently. Like even earlier when I was just like, wait, that's not relatable. Like I thought that was the most relatable thing ever that I was saying. But everyone thinks so differently. And I remember growing up thinking like, if you didn't have a good game of skate, you weren't that good. And like, it was just such a stupid, like, primitive way of looking at things. I'm like, dude, some dudes I know, like, they can't flip their board that well, but, like, are so amazing at skating, can, like, hold insanely long grinds and slides, like, in difficult positions, and, like, for some reason, like, flipping their board in certain ways isn't really their thing. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I just see, like, certain comments sometimes, like, I don't know, maybe I'm just saying because, like, it bugs me. Maybe it doesn't bug me. I don't know. It's such an easy way to make a judgment on someone versus whether it's their personality or their skating and stuff. I'm like, everyone out there kills it. They're all there for a reason. Those guys were sick to watch and hang out with. I feel like every one of those people, like, did something that I was like, damn, like, I wish I could freaking backside flip like Marley Humphrey or, like, half gap flip like Nikolai or, like, the million of Sevas or Toms or Arts tricks. Like, they're all so good and so dope to watch in person.
The other thing that is kind of hard that luckily you're not in that position is like people who come and then they lose both games and then the comments are negative about them. It's like, so they didn't even get a chance to like redeem themselves. Part of like organizing this contest, that's kind of the worst fear, having somebody come lose 2 games, maybe not even like land a trick. I don't think that's happened yet, but like they didn't play the way they could have or skated the way they could have, and then they get shit on, and it's like it's going on you're broadcasting that. I don't want to be in a position where that has to be the case, you know?
No, totally. And that's what I'm saying. It's like when I just remember watching things growing up and then just having these weird little judgments, and then like, you know, things change as you're in them and you kind of experience what they're really like. You see someone skate, they're absolutely killing it, and then their game comes and like all of a sudden like they weren't skating like how they were. Like I think a perfect example was Calvin DeBrewer.
Yep.
I remember watching him warm up and I was like, he was doing everything, man. I was just like, dude, this guy could win it all. Like, this guy is so good. He did so many tricks that I was just like, what was that? Like, nollie big from late flip on flat, like first try, like chilling. And then, you know, like the game came around. I think he was nervous, and I was like, it was like 2 different people in that moment. Sorry, Calvin, if that sounds shitty. I don't mean to shit on you.
No, he's been
it.
taking it with grace, you know, the whole situation. And
that's what I'm saying. Like I remember watching him be like, wow, like so good. And then I think he was just nervous in the position. So people didn't see that side of like how good he was skating. You know?
Yeah, it's a shame we can't just record every second of the day to show that kind of stuff. But
I mean, that's what gives value to the in-person. So everything's online nowadays. So it's just like when you're out there and you know you're in the community and you be outside, you'll see crazy shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, hopefully more people organize contests. I'm biased, obviously, but like you have your SLS Tampa, and like the Barracks just did a Japan thing, but I feel like there's so much more room for organized events in skateboarding.
I think we're going to see a resurgence.
Yeah.
Just because if you think about nowadays, like there's so much AI video stuff. I think I saw a stat, like it was like over 50% of the stuff on Instagram today is like AI generative videos. I'm sure our algorithms are a bit different because it's skating, but it's just like at some point when everything becomes so saturated with like artificially intelligent, like generative videos, in-person experience is going to become the most valuable thing. And I hope that we'll see a big resurgence of like people want to get outside and see like real life and real skating and what the vibe is like versus like there's even like, you know, a certain aspect or level of artificialness to a clip you see online. Like you try all day and you can get this clip and it looks dope, and like versus like seeing someone land something first try is like, whoa, like damn, I just got it like that. You know, so hopefully more events will be born as that pendulum kind of swings back from all the fake shit that's out there.
Is there anything we didn't discuss, or is there any last words, Micky, you have before we close out? I think we covered a lot.
I know. It's as you get 2 analytical types together talking about data, and then here we are.
No, it's all good. It's fun. But yeah, is there anything that you wanted to add before we wrap up?
No, man. I've been having a good time with the series, so kudos to you. Thanks for putting that on for us.
Hey, pleasure's all mine. Looking forward to the next one. Is there anybody you want to see in a future contest that you feel would surprise people? I know Jamie Griffin's name gets brought up a lot.
Right. I mean, if he won a battle at the Barracks, it's pretty incredible. Tyler Peterson is insane. Yeah, man, he's unbelievable. Like, especially when he's like focused on Flatground, it's like that dude's like almost impossible to beat. Mike Piwowar, my boy, he's always amazing to watch, and he's got really solid all the fundamentals. Levi Lofelberger, he'd be a cool one to be in there too.
What about people who like haven't been in a contest? Because all 3 of those guys were in the Barracks, and then Jamie was too.
I'm not as sure about his Flatground game, but Maurice Jordan is amazing. I'm just going to automatically assume he's got every trick because of how good he is, like at all the other aspects of skating, or like rails, ledges, transition, whatever it is. Like he can do everything. Jordan Morning.
Are they both based in LA?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're both crazy.
There's another factor of like putting this event together where like people I think get excited, and then the reality hits them of like, oh shit, like I'm gonna have to do this, and then it's like actually I don't want to do it, you know. And there's a lot of people, I won't drop a ton of names, but like that was the case for like several people.
Yeah, for sure.
Getting this going. I imagine it's the same with the Barracks and probably just in general, but that was kind of surprising to me.
Yeah. Logistics. I mean, organizing skaters is always hard. We're a bunch of yes men. And then we're like, oh shit, can't do all of it.
True.
One other name I want to bring up, I know Brian Hastings, BR Brian, or BR Brain on Instagram. He's so good. Like, really good flip tricks. He's actually up in my hometown, Vancouver, right now on an extended trip up there. But he's out of San Diego, and he's really good. If you guys don't know him, check him out. Super good skater.
You heard it here first.
Yep, sure did.
All right. Thank you for your time, Mickey. I appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you.